Fort Ransom is a small place within the state of North Dakota, USA, that may hold an enormous, yet quietly held secret. In this small slice of the rural farming lands of the United States lies a place known as Pyramid Hill, a small, modest pyramidal mound, which is very similar in shape and size to the curious pyramidal mound found in other parts of the world, such as Silbury Hill, a chalk pyramid within the UK. Long argued by a number of funded geologists as a mere natural formation. However, local residents, along with historical accounts within the area, have strongly disagreed with these conclusions, since their predictable acceptance by the academic community. A vast portion of the surrounding population believe, including a number of specialist historians and archaeologists, that Pyramid Hill is in fact that of a man-made pyramid. What's more, they hold to the belief that it is the oldest pyramidal structure on Earth. What makes this site the most interesting, we feel, however, and the reason for this video, is the writing stone which was found nearby some centuries ago. Clearly very ancient cup and ring marks, and constructed to form some kind of communication, they have, however, remained undeciphered. They are incredibly intriguing and are reminiscent of a hybrid between music and Morse code. Yet all attempts to establish a translation of the pattern have been unsuccessful. Located in the Cheyenne River Valley, in southeastern North Dakota, pitted mysteriously cup and ring marked boulders appear in Saskatchewan, South Dakota, Iowa, and many other sites all over the world. Just who created them remains a mystery. Was the writing stone left by the original builders of Pyramid Hill? If so, why is it an unknown language? Who wrote it? Is Pyramid Hill really the oldest pyramid on Earth? Built by an unknown culture who clearly spoke and wrote a highly complex and as yet undecipherable language? Perhaps one day we will find out the truth.
There are countless legends of creatures of gargantuan proportions, spanning back many hundreds of millions of years. Stories of beings which once roamed and flourished upon a planet with food and vegetation of equal proportions. A planet without a tilt of its axis, with equal and temperate environments all year round, spanning far north and south from the equator. These conditions not only permitting the existence of prehistoric dinosaurs, but seemingly everything upon the planet was able to accomplish enormous sizes. With dinosaurs slowly but surely transforming into the modern-day bird, one must wonder what could have happened which caused this drastic change, this shrinkage and indeed the tilt of Earth's axis. Yet I feel the most compelling of possibilities to ponder in regard to this lost world has to be that of the trees. Just how big did the trees become? Were they too influenced by these perfect conditions into growing to heights many simply dismiss as impossible? Is there evidence, perhaps the petrified remains, which just like that of the smorgasbord of fossils spanning throughout the Triassic to Jurassic, and so on, still existing? Perhaps the stumps left by this global cataclysm slowly turned to stone, and due to modern paradigms are dismissed, just like that of some of the oldest and eroded ruins we share here upon our channel. They too argued as simply being that of geological formations. The largest tree still alive upon Earth, for example, is so heavily protected that very few are allowed to the site and even less aware of its location. For it would appear that certain individuals whom profit from certain beliefs regarding our past, like that of the giant redwoods, more interested in felling these giant and very ancient trees, rather than letting them remain as living proof of just what nature can do when it is presented with ideal conditions. I have in the past covered the astonishing supposed natural formation known today as Devil's Tower within Wyoming, which if indeed once a tree, would have reached high into the heavens, with an estimated height no less than 2 miles high. An ancient anomaly which is passionately argued as anything but, with some saying it the result of volcanic activity below the earth, one which long ago solidified then somehow became exposed upon the surface. Whilst others claim it formed from various other geological processes, yet they all concur it is anything but a tree. They seemingly convinced it not a tree, yet they also continue to not even be able to agree amongst themselves of just exactly what it is. Could there be countless examples of these ancient remains found worldwide, which due to plausible deniability and a lack of entertaining or indeed exploring such possibilities have been successfully overlooked or in many cases not even realized as possible candidates? What happened to the dinosaurs, the giant vegetation, Earth's axis? Were these giant remains argued away as geological to conceal the true reality of Earth's history? I find such possibilities highly compelling. There are many ancient unexplained ruins which have long been suppressed and in some cases completely covered up, found scattered across the United States of America, remnants of a prehistoric civilization which the powers that be would rather have remained hidden. Megalithic ruins rivaling even that of Baalbek found throughout Montana recently discovered enormous megalithic quarries throughout Utah, the falling block or melted handprints within Wyoming, and so on, a literal smorgasbord of ancient relics which have all successfully been ignored, hidden throughout the states. This lack of academic attention which these sites receive, one could perceive as rather suspicious. This, of course, if one were not aware that in reality, this a concerted effort which has long been put into hiding many factors of our ancient past, many of which some claim now sit within the vaults of particular institutes. Yet the biggest of these unsolved ancient mysteries, undoubtedly, Earth's countless ancient pyramids. I have in the past covered the little studied, and even lesser explored submerged pyramid within Wisconsin, or indeed the incredibly old pyramid hidden within Dakota, yet like that of the long-claimed Great Pyramid, which once sat tall within Salt Lake City, once somehow constructed of solid copper blocks, our next item of interest was also seemingly quarried out, or possibly simply destroyed in this ongoing effort to hide the true grandeur of our planet's lost civilizations. Found within Pyramid Lake, one of the largest lakes within America, is a strange yet uncanny rock formation. This formation not only dated to over 300 million years old, but within the original documentation and indeed illustrations of the area, created by the first pioneers, just like that of the surviving evidence for the recently covered copper pyramid, which once stood within Salt Lake City, can be seen to have itself indeed once been a clearly man-made pyramid, which once stood proudly within this ancient lake, perhaps even once utilizing it as a water source. The question is, what happened to this mysterious anomaly? Could the many other artifacts we have found, often discovered perfectly preserved within prehistoric strata and coal seams, dating to this exact same age, not only supporting the existence of human civilization spanning back to these times, but corroborate the claim that this, along with the Great Pyramids, which still stand within Egypt, specifically its core stones, ones I have long postulated, are now obscured and covered by later conservation efforts, not a mere few thousand years, but quite possibly hundreds of millions of years old. Perhaps this, along with the original purpose, having long ago been unraveled surrounding the past function of these ancient structures, the actual true motive behind why this pyramid, along with many others I have encountered during my research for the channel, not just within the States but worldwide, destroyed, hidden, or attached to civilizations clearly incapable of such feats. This then perhaps all in an effort to conceal their true past function. I will keep you posted on any further explorations or confirmations of ancient human activity discovered within Pyramid Lake. It is a mystery which I find highly compelling. With the wide and varied array of ancient, and in some cases prehistoric artifacts which have now been shared here upon our channel, now found and located all over our Earth, one would expect that the proposition of human history, spanning hundreds of thousands, perhaps even millions of years, would be more warmly received. Yet alas, with past popularization of such hypothesis as that of the Bering Strait land bridge, such a reality continues to be denied, suppressed, and dismissed. There exists many accusations of elaborate hoaxes which attach themselves to these objects. Sometimes shady institutions and academics will even resort to stealing these unexplainable artifacts in the middle of trusted examinations, with many of them having vanished this way, and always in an effort to prevent the truth from reaching the public, to protect and uphold current paradigms. Fallacies which all those responsible for covering up these discoveries well aware of what they are doing, and indeed what they are hiding. Yet there are those few most peculiar of finds, such as the discovery of a hen's egg, for instance, found firmly embedded in sand 33 feet below the surface, that are so out of place they not only hard to bury, but almost impossible to dismiss. Quote, "It was in good condition and found when sinking a well in Plain Grove Township, Lawrence County, Pennsylvania. Upon the egg being broken, it appeared fresh for an instant, but mysteriously and rapidly spoiled within a mere few minutes of being exposed to the air." End quote. Found recorded within the Philadelphia Public Ledger for July 28, 1858. Or the report from May 11, 1864. Within the True Democrat of Lewistown, Mifflin County, also in Pennsylvania, found under the heading "A Wonderful Discovery." It details a find made at Rolling Mill of Wood Morrell and Company, Cambria County. While workers were laying foundations for a new business whilst using a large piece of sandstone, a frog appeared from the slab once it cut in two. Quote, "Pressed as flat as a cent, and lying in a crevice in the stone, a reptile which was plump, and when it fell out, appeared to be blind. The stone had been quarried from spurs of Laurel Hill some 30 years previously." End quote. Such finds simply cannot be explained away as natural or historical anomalies, yet such incredible discoveries continue to be ignored en masse. With many reports over the past century alone of living creatures somehow being found entombed, seemingly frozen in time for untold millennia, yet upon resurfacing into the world appear completely unchanged. Yet there are other finds which, although not preserved in an inexplicable living state, thanks to the locations in which they met their untimely demise, no less astonishingly preserved as that of our fellow amphibians. And our next items of interest are of no exception. In the winter of 1993, in the Cherabad salt mines, south of Hamzelu village, on the western side of the city of Zanjan, within Iran, miners would stumble upon an ancient human, perfectly preserved with long hair, beard, and in possession of an enormous array of compelling artifacts. These included leather boots, iron knives, woolen half trousers, a silver needle, a sling, parts of a leather rope, a grindstone, a walnut, some pottery shards, and varying patterned textile fragments. Discovered within the middle of a man-made ancient tunnel carved into the salt deposit of approximately 45 meters in length, it wouldn't be long before individuals funded by numerous mainstream academic institutes would eagerly volunteer their services in investigating and indeed dating the finds. In 2004, the remains of a second man, and then in 2005, two more, along with a female, were discovered. In 2006, the Iranian Cultural Heritage Agency, the German Mining Museum, the University of Oxford, and the Swiss University of Zurich would join forces for a thorough investigation of the discovery, starting a scientific long-term project, which was academically supported and funded by Deutsche Forschungsgemeinschaft, or DFG, and also numerous British funds. After archaeological studies, which included C14 datings of different samples of bones and textiles, the Saltman was dated to about 1,700 years ago. However, the officially disclosed dates do indeed vary by some 200 to 300 years apart from each other, although they all clearly from the same group. Thus, their true possible age, due to the advanced artifacts found, could perhaps be far older than is being claimed. Additionally, and rather predictably, possibly supporting such a conspiracy, by 2008, the mine was abruptly shut down and any further permittance to explore or even mine the area now continually forbidden and denied. There could of course be many more preserved bodies, and indeed, controversial artifacts present within the ancient salt mine. Yet, it also equally as possible, this denial of further investigations made to allow for covert exploration of these possible pre-flood peoples, and indeed the complete seizure and suppression of any further artifacts and remains by a certain institute whom shall remain unnamed. Who were the saltmen of Iran? Just how old could they be? Are the artifacts which they were found with proof of ancient man's advanced knowledge and abilities, particularly in regards to metallurgy? Were they part of a now lost yet pre-flood civilization, with perhaps the biggest mystery still unanswered surrounding the saltmen? Why were they here in the first place? Were they like the modern man mining salt? If so, how did they find this deposit to begin with? Has the mine itself, the salt within, like that of the location of the Altura man, allowed for these people to remain perfectly preserved, perhaps for hundreds of thousands of years? They are a collection of remarkable out-of-place anomalies, which I continue to find highly compelling.